Hey, it's Big Game James McCarty with Jace, Denman, and of course, the NSIC's Offensive Player of the Year, Jack Strand, an incredible athlete on the field, and having an opportunity to catch up with him, get to meet with you a few times this season. First off, congratulations, and what were the emotions like for you when you found out that you were the NSIC's Offensive Player of the Year?
Well, I appreciate it. It was pretty cool, definitely, to get that award, just to see kind of everybody in the conference, how they feel about it. But, I just got to give all the credit to the guys around me. I wouldn't be able to do it without the guys who are catching the ball for me, the guys who are blocking for me, the guys who are running with it. So definitely give all the credit to them.
We'll use a little bit of this conversation to gloat about you a bit, then also talk about your team, some of the awards of the season, and then, of course, a little bit of a season wrap-up. Because one thing that was very noticeable the last 2-3 weeks of the year was you guys were really, really banged up. Guys were game-time decisions. Guys were in and out of the lineup throughout one drive and then not in the next one. So what would you just say to the fans, the listeners, the viewers about the grit and the determination of your team to flip the script and go from a 4-win team last year to a 7-win team this year and battle through so much of that injury and adversity?
Well, I think it's incredible, and it's a testament to kind of just what our program is about. And the last couple games of the season, we had guys who were playing through a ton of injuries. They weren't practicing all week, and they're still studying their game plan, getting ready, going through walkthroughs, and then them being ready to play in the game on Saturday. And obviously, we weren't always at 100%, and it's tough to play. Everybody's kind of at that point in the season. Nobody's at 100%, but just to go out there and do what they could and play the way that they did while not being at 100%, I think was really special.
And in knowing you talk a lot about your entire team, the linemen, the receivers, and all those guys, but now that it's been a few days since the season's come to an end, you've had the end of the season meetings, you're in between mandatory workouts and optional workouts right now, you have Thanksgiving coming up. Has it started to settle in for you that, hey, I'm the single season passing or pass completions record holder, broke the single season record for passing touchdowns? Has that stuff started to settle in and you really realize, man, we had an incredible season and we can keep building on it next year?
For sure. I think just kind of everything we did as a team, it was a special year to completely flip the script from what we were last year. But I think the biggest thing for us is we can't be content with where we're at. We got to just every day keep focusing on getting better. Coach Lack he's been talking about winning the week, throughout the winter and the spring and the summer. So just having that mindset that we got to keep getting better every day.
Jack, when you look at this past season and where you started, okay, so you came here as a freshman, you ended up becoming the starting quarterback last year, and then you knew this year coming into it that you were going to be the starting quarterback. When you look back at your progress over the year, what were some of the biggest things that kind of helped you achieve the success, especially the individual success? And when we talk about the awards, et cetera, what were the things that really kind of helped you to get better week by week?
So I think a big thing in our quarterback room is we're very process-oriented. So we're not focusing on end results. It's just kind of how we're going through it, making sure that we're making the right reads. Because, once the ball's out of your hand, there's not a whole lot you can do to control it. So, if a pass gets tipped and gets intercepted, it's not on us. Or if we make a good read and something happens. And it goes the same way it goes the other way too. Like if we make a bad read and our guy goes up and catches the ball over a defender. So I think being process-oriented and focused on it, just making sure we're doing what we can to get better and to help the team get better, that's been a big part of it, instead of focusing just on results.
Right. You look at some of the injuries, as James had mentioned, especially towards the end of the season. You had your receivers banged up there with a battle through. You lost your starting tight end to an injury. You lost one of your starting wide receivers and Carter Bierencott to an injury. What can you say about the guys that then stepped up into those places, specifically a young guy like Madden Thorson, who really, the coaching staff told us, look, we knew he had the talent. We just had to get him on the field and get him some reps, et cetera. But talk about the development of some of these receivers, because your receiving room, along with yourself, all like sophomores and younger. So talk a little bit about that depth and that youth that's kind of come to the forefront this season.
Yeah, so it was definitely helpful for us, especially once we had guys go down, that we knew we were going to have younger guys be able to step in and fill those roles. Madden, especially throughout the spring and then through fall camp, we had a feeling that he was going to be a big asset for our team this year. He started to really improve a lot, and he was playing really good football, and he was able to come in, and he had a huge role, part of the offense this year, and played really well for us. And I think we're going to have a couple guys like that next year too, that just step in and fill in those roles.
Yeah, you don't lose much on this team when you look both offensively and defensively from, starters that are seniors. I think there was 3 on the defensive side. There was a couple on or maybe only 1 on the offensive side in Beebs. So it's one of those things where it's such a young team. What, is that a talking point this offseason about, oh, look, we had a great season. We did some good things. We were at the top half of the conference. But do you guys look at the locker room and go, look, there's a lot of us going to be back here for not just 1, but 2 more, maybe even 3 more years for, someone after you're done. I mean, do you guys look forward already as to what the potential of this team is?
I think we've been talking about it for a little while now, and just, making sure we keep everybody together, and how special that we're going to have an opportunity to do something special, these next couple of years. Just we have a lot of guys who have had a lot of playing time, and even just being sophomores and juniors, and so just keeping that going through the next couple of years is going to be really important.
So yourself, Josiah on the defensive side, and probably Gage in the receiver room. Are you guys already kind of looking ahead to next season in a sense that I'm going to be counted on as a leader more so than I was? Because obviously you've got your senior leaders that you had. We had 9 fantastic guys that finished up their playing career on Saturday. We got to wish them off at the banquet, etc. So it's one of those things. Do you go in already in the offseason with the mentality that I'm a leader on the team next year? Not just kind of like, well, I play quarterback, I kind of lead the offense, but I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to help the young guys that'll be coming onto campus hopefully this summer or maybe even a little bit for the spring when they have the recruiting?
I think so. I mean, it's definitely something that I think I developed into more of a leadership role this year. Being an older guy and having gotten some playing time last year, but now with those older guys gone, I think it's going to be important for me to step into that role. And like you said, not just in the offense, but the team as a whole. I think, yeah.
Older guy as in air quotes, James, on that one, just because he's one. He'll be a junior next year. We talk a lot about you in the offense and how prolific it's been. It was so much fun to watch. I mean, obviously, first offensive play of the game last weekend was a 72-yard touchdown where you had the easy part of it. Madden had the hard part. But the thing that James and I kept talking about during broadcast, during pre-games, post-games, is the progression of this defense. They went from a unit that maybe wasn't going to be the backbone of this team, but there were games this year that they really stepped up and they really at times carried it to get you guys the ball back, to give you guys an opportunity. What can you say about your teammates on the defensive side of the ball and how they progressed during the year?
Yeah, I think it was really incredible what they did, and especially a couple games like Winona, we didn't score a lot of points, and they were able to hold them the whole game and keep them under what we had. And then Mankato too, like throughout the whole second half, they didn't allow them to score at all, and obviously we have to score to win the game. But I think just what the defense was able to do, and there were times I remember talking throughout the year, like, they'd go out there for a 3rd and 1, a 4th one. We're like, we're confident we're going to get the ball back because they're just going to stonewall them at the line of scrimmage. There were so many plays like that, just tackles for loss. You'd see them running, and then you'd see our guys just go and make a play. And then in the secondary too, they're always making plays on the ball, whether it's pass pick up or going up and getting a pick. So I think just where the defense has progressed to, it's really helped our team as a whole.
You look at maybe a little bit of an unsung part of this team, and it was one of the best units of the team, no offense to the offense. But special teams, especially that punt block unit. You guys had, I believe, 5 punt blocks during the season. You had 2 of them returned for touchdowns. And that unit is kind of made up of some offensive and defensive guys getting opportunity out there. I mean, you look at the Mary game, and you had that one-play touchdown. The defense goes up for the first drive, and then on that punt, they get a hand on it, they return it for a touchdown. What's it like when you have that confidence offensively, like we can go out there and we can score, we can make some plays happen, we know our defense is going to make plays, but what is that mentality on the sideline when you see your special teams go out there and take one to the house? I mean,
just our punt block unit was incredible in general. I didn't know they had 5 block punts on the air, but yeah, I knew it was a lot because it seemed like at the beginning they were getting one every game, and we had a couple touchdowns, and I think just the difference between, if they get the punt off, we get the ball around 30-yard line versus getting the ball at their 30-yard line. It's a huge mentality switch, and then, we're going to go out there and take a shot play to score right away, kind of hit the dagger while they're down after the block punt. And having that unit out there to really be able to flip the field and flip the game is definitely a very big asset for us.
Looking at your all-conference guys now this year, you had 6 of them. That is absolutely incredible. 3 first-teamers, 3 second-teamers. You were on the first team along with Gage, who rebroke his own single-season receptions record. And then, of course, you had Josiah, who led the conference with 94 tackles. I mean, just incredible. And then second-teamers, Hayden Carr, you had Brady Perryman, and then, of course, Jake Betcher, who was tied for the league lead in interceptions as well. You 6 specifically, each and every week, stood out, but the entire team encompassed what you guys were about. Just what did it mean for you guys to be honored and to realize that, you know what, the NSIC has MSUM back on the map? How cool is that?
I mean, it's pretty cool, just to see that, there's the other teams in the conference that kind of are appreciating what we're doing. But I think we can't be satisfied with just that. We got to still have the mentality that we got to go out and keep getting better, because the end goal is to win as many games as possible. And so I think that's kind of all of us who are selected for all conference. That's our mentality. I don't think anyone's too focused on just the individual awards. It's more on the team aspect of it.
When you look at this offense and kind of going back into what we talked at the beginning of the season with you, I didn't know you didn't know me. I didn't know much about this team, and I see this type of offense. I see how prolific it is, and I know that I talked to you at the beginning of the season, and you got more comfortable with the playbook, more with the calls, etc. So, when you go into this off season, what types of things are you going to work on? Are you going to try and kind of poke coach and say, let's add a few things here and there, to the playbook, or the different concepts maybe? But, is that one of the biggest differences from last year to this year, was just the fact of the knowledge of the system and knowing where everybody's going to be kind of at any given time?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just kind of the way that we went throughout the week with with our walkthroughs and kind of just game plan and stuff, I had more of a feel for why we were doing stuff instead of just what we were doing. And even just the specific, the way a receiver is making a break on a play. And then going into this offseason, I think just, watching film of other NSIC teams, and then I like to watch NFL film too, and just see if there's anything that those teams are doing that we can put into our offense that'll be advantageous for us too.
When it comes to an offense like this, when it comes to a mentality that Coach Lockway has, especially when it comes to offense and being aggressive and not settling for field goals, going for first downs, going for touchdowns, what's that like kind of maybe even just offensively? What's that kind of do for your guys' confidence level, knowing that coach on that sideline is like, nope, we're going to go for it. We think we can get it, even if it's 4th and 13 like it was on the road in Bemidji. What is it like having a coach and a mentality of a coaching staff like that?
I think just knowing that they have that much confidence in us. They got all the confidence in the world that we're going to go out and we're going to make plays. Like you said, 4th and 13, and we're not going to kick a field goal. We're going to go for it, and then we end up scoring on the touchdown. But even we have a 4th and 2 or something back in our own territory, and knowing that we're going to have a chance to go for it and stay on the field, just knowing that they have that confidence, it helps us to play as freely as possible. And then another example, say we have 3rd and 15 or something, we know if we just get half of it, we're going to go for it on 4th down. So we know that we don't have to get all of it in one play. We can just kind of, split it up between 2 plays, and we're going to stay on the field.
When we look, another thing looking towards next year, obviously you're going to be coming back for your 3rd year with the Dragons. James and I, as covering local high school sports, we've seen some of the young men, at least locally in the state of North Dakota, that have decided to commit to playing, and it's not official till February. But when you see some of the potential players coming in, is there something that you would want to say to someone that is maybe on the fence about where they want to commit to playing football? I mean, obviously you can speak more to that offensive side of the ball, but is there something you would like to tell those potential recruits out there that, hey, this is not only a great place to play as a community that supports this team, but a family that is the team itself, the extended, the parents, the media, etc., and then obviously just the mentality and the type of offense you guys play? Is there something you would want to tell those guys that say, like, you might really want to check this out and come ball with us?
Yeah, so as to the family aspect of it, I think that's a big thing for kind of just our values of the team as a whole. And that's a big thing in recruiting too. I remember Coach Lockway preaching that a lot, as I was getting recruited, as I was going through the process here. And then being a part of a couple recruiting visits for incoming freshmen last year, I think just kind of how tight you get with everybody. And, there's not really anybody in the locker room. There's nobody in the locker room that doesn't like each other. We're all friends. We're all close with each other. We do stuff outside of football that's good team bonding, and then like even the banquet that the parents set up for us. I think just kind of everybody on the team is tight, and I think it's what makes this place special. And then as to the offense, I'd say if you want to catch a lot of balls, if you want to run a lot of routes, I'd say come here because that's what we do.
There you go.
I know I want to piggyback a little bit off of that last question Jace had asked, but you had already alluded to it. You talked about the all-conference guys. It's bigger than those guys. You've talked about the team and what it's done and how the development has been the last couple of years. You talk about the offensive line, the guys blocking punts, everybody. And a big word that comes up is culture. And in my opinion, culture is much deeper than a win and a loss in that column. They help, but it's much bigger than that. What is the culture like of this team? How have you seen it evolve? And just what is it like being a member of this program? Because it seems as though every time something happens, everybody is up and jumping and excited. It doesn't matter if you break up a pass. It doesn't matter if it's a 98-yard pick six. It doesn't matter if it's you stopped them for only a gain of 2 on a 3rd and 4. Everybody looks like they just are celebrating the biggest play of the season. It just looks like a blast out there.
Yeah, it's really special. Everything that we have as a part of this team. I think Coach Lockwood does a great job of that too, just preaching, there's no reason to make fun of the other team if you make a play. Like, there's no reason to get in their face. It's more important, it's more fun to celebrate with your own guys. Give somebody a side bump or a high five, whatever you want to do after they make a play. And then just part of our culture, we buy into the process. And I think that's something that Coach Lockwood talked about a lot after the season is every week we had a different thing that we were focusing on for the week. And he liked to use movies as an example for it. And every week, everybody on the team was buying into that. And I think it's something that we didn't have as much last year, and now this year that we had everybody kind of on the same page each week, and everybody had the same goal. We want to go through and be doing the same things. And yeah, I think that's part of what makes the culture of this team so special.
I don't want you to give away too much, but how many times were there movie clips that you guys as a team, based on just the age difference between you and Coach Lockway, that you didn't know the movie reference?
Honestly, I don't think he had even seen some of the movies, but we made a joke about, so we'd always try to get him to tell us what the movie was going to be beforehand, and he never said, but we kind of just joked that he could spin any movie to fit our message for the week. Yeah. So he's got a knack for being able to do that.
I just had heard that there was one movie that nobody had seen it as far as players, and I just assumed it's like, oh, it's a classic, but you guys just hadn't seen it.
I'm not sure. I don't know which one that would have been, but there were a few that I definitely had not seen. But I haven't seen, there's a lot of movies I haven't seen. Like, we had some Marvel movies, and I haven't never seen any of the Marvel movies, but there were a couple other ones.
What? Really? Come on.
He's a football guy. Leave him be.
I haven't really gotten into him, but.
All right, I'll let that slide for now, I guess.
I'll have to get into them this off season.
They're fantastic. That and Star Wars. No, I'm just kidding. I got a list for you. But when James and I got a chance to walk into this banquet that they had at the end of the season, and they've got items that were donated or purchased by families, and they use it to raise money for the team or the families association. I'm not quite sure. But when we walked in that room, I don't know what I was quite expecting. I didn't know how many people were going to be in there. I figured the team would be in there. But to see that gym filled up with family and friends of the players, and to just be a part of that and get a quick shout out for being able to be a part of it, that was really gratifying for me. But to see the number of people that were in there, the families that were in there celebrating a successful season, that really kind of boils it down to what this, when you talk about that, the Dragon Way, the culture of this university. So I don't know if there's anything you'd want to kind of add to that as far as when you talk about that banquet in the postseason.
I think it's just really special to see how many people we had there and how much support we have, and just the love that everybody has for this program. No one has anything ever bad to say. Everyone just, even all the families, like, they go through the process with the recruits too, and they get to love it as much as the recruits do. And then, the coaches are always big about talking to parents after games, saying hi, catching up, and I think, it's just really special.
As a team now, we're getting to the end of this conversation. I got to imagine we're probably holding you up a little bit longer than usual. But this offseason, as a team, I don't know if you've even had those conversations yet, but if you have, what is the biggest thing you guys are working on as a team moving into this next season?
I think just kind of what I talked about a little bit earlier is just not being content with where we're at. Like, kind of just be okay with 7-4, and we can go 7-4, 6-5 next year, or we can hit this off season as hard as we can, know that we're a better team than 7-4, and know that we can be a better team. We could be an 11-0 playoff national contender team, and so I think going into the off season with that mentality, but also knowing that we're gonna have to put in the work to do that too. It's not just gonna happen naturally.
I love that answer. That was awesome. And the last thing I have for, I don't know if Jace has anything else, but the hardware, I got to imagine it's being in the process of being shipped. Have you found a spot for that yet?
I'm not sure. I didn't even know if there was any hardware. So
maybe
that's a team guy for you right there.
Now it's just like, I'm expecting a trophy and there's no trophy.
Wait, wouldn't that be awkward? Oops.
You know what, Jack? It has been a heck of a season. It's been a lot of fun covering you. I just can't even put into words how much fun it was to be able to be there and call these games, especially, some of the highs. And obviously, this season on the road, you look at the season, undefeated at home. The majority of the difficult games were on the road, and 3 out of the 4 that end up in losses were one-score games. And so it feels to me like this school, this program is right there on the cusp of being something really special. And when you look at this conference, I mean, you've got 3 teams in the conference that made the playoffs. There was probably a couple. You can make arguments for you guys. You can make arguments for Wayne State. I'm forgetting the other one that was Duluth that didn't get in that probably should have been in. I mean, this is a tough conference. And so to grade yourself against the best in the country that just happened to be in your conference, I mean, at least you know where that standard is and where you got to get to. So obviously I would assume that playing against teams like this really kind of helps. It's kind of the iron sharpens iron type of situation, but I think it really kind of gives you guys an idea where you have to get to be one of those teams, right?
Yeah, definitely. And just knowing that those are the teams that we're going to have to beat. Those are the teams that we're going to have to play with if we want to be national contenders.
All right. Well, that's all I have, James.
Awesome. Well, hey, Jack, we want to say thank you again for some more of your time. You're always gracious to give us time, and we appreciate the heck out of that. We appreciate your entire program giving us that time, and we're looking forward to – I'm already counting down the days till 2024. I know we have basketball season, but, man, it's in the back of my mind at this point. So thank you for that time, and we're looking forward to seeing your progression and what you're going to do next season.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, man. I'm Big Game James McCarty with Jace Denman, of course, Jack Strand, the NSIC's Offensive Player of the Year. And just one more to you, the viewer, the listener. We really appreciate your support and helping making these videos possible, helping make our coverage possible, and, of course, being able to come along with the ride for us, whether it's a home game, a road game, wherever. And we just want to say one more thank you to you guys. And you know what? Until basketball, December 2nd against UMary, you know what? Enjoy Thanksgiving, and God bless, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yep, you betcha. Bye.